Hey guys, Sean here, Shanto Shinobi. I'm going to show you how I edit tracks, um, and I've got a gig on Friday, so I'm playing first, and was thinking I wanted to start off with some slow stuff just to kind of set the vibe in the room and be able to take some time to read the room as well, and maybe say some hellos and even troubleshoot. So I always kind of like to have an idea for my first few tracks, and this one I'm actually going to set up as one single mix, so that I don't actually have to, touch the controls on the board. Um, and part of that also is that this is some tricky material that really required me to come in here and do some detailed work. It didn't fit on the beat grid in sorry, record box, and as a result, I felt inspired once I started working on this one. It just kind of clicked that this other one would work. So I thought I'd bring it in and see how it sounded ahead of time. And now it's already in here, it's already mixed. I don't see any reason why I should make it harder on myself. I will probably bounce them out later as individual tracks, but for now, I like this pre-recorded mix. It's not that long. It won't take up my entire set. It's just kind of a little bit of a breather after setting up, to be able to play something that's maybe 7 or 8 minutes long and have some dynamics to it, just not one straight track. And I hope it sounds good. I think it sounds good. I think it'll work. So I'll give you a little bit of a rundown. So what I did was I brought this track in here, Love in Perfect Harmony, Fatback Band, and I had to beat match it, beat warp it. So I deleted all of the transient markers that were in there. You can just select one on one end, shift, select that, and that selects them all, and then you can hit delete. These are the ones I actually added myself, and that is part of a very long and tedious process. You get faster as you go on, start realizing what you should be looking for in terms of transients and the regularity of them and how that can indicate where they should be on the grid. So as you can see, I just went on and every half beat, half measure. And I left out some too, just to keep it natural. There are, these are funk drummers, so they're very tight, but they also are able to swing very well. So sometimes I wanted to leave in some of the natural groove, and I didn't. I don't always have it super tight. Other times I actually needed to go in and dial in just a little bit more, a little bit tighter. So it all depends on the material. Pardon, my dog is in the room, so you might hear him playing with his bones. That's what that rustling is in the back, if you can hear that. So yeah, that's what the transient markers look like. They're not consistent. I don't use quantize on material like this. It is really annoying, I think, because it's never what I want, and then it's just all these transient markers all over the place that I end up having to go in and change. So the way I do it is I usually just like DJing with vinyl, you try to find the first beat, match that first beat with the time code here as you're watching it. It's almost like a visual, beat match, and then adjust accordingly. So yeah, I could see there is a selected transient, or suggested transient point there. So if I was listening to that first line and I could kind of hear that it was passing the appropriate time there on the beat grid, just say, yeah, that looks like the right spot. Let's just tighten that up and bring it right on the grid there. So it's all about using your ears and using your eyes at the same time. And I think that's very similar to DJing, where you're checking meters Especially with vinyl, when beat matching, your ears are great, but it's also really important, I think, to use those meters. And so here, that's kind of the same concept. You're using your ears, but you're also really having to look at the waveform. Love compared to none can be love compared to none can be an exciting one. And you can just see that the first beat, that strong point is right there. It's that kick, and then at the end there's another strong one. And actually, this is one a good thing to point out. Sometimes the suggested transient points in Ableton aren't actually really, in my opinion, always the best. So let's see what that sounds like real quick. I think that sound might be a little bit more natural. There was a little bit of warble or warp there. Love compared to none can be an exciting one. Okay, so there's that. I could even try it without it, see how it sounds. Love compared to none can be an exciting one. I think I like that the most, actually. I think there was some sort of a transient hit there that when I shifted it slightly, it got lost, and then leaving that unwarped, let's see, yeah, it's actually more at the very beginning, so a little bit of a tiny bit of swing there, and that's what makes this whole process unique and fun, is you get to put that in there and really work with the music and the material. I don't recommend just blindly quantizing, either by hand or by the tool, the function here, the quantize tool. That's good in certain times, especially like when I'm playing my own bass lines and things, and I need those quantized to the grid. But for complex material, it's pretty useless. So just do it yourself. It takes about 20 minutes, 15 minutes maybe per track. Don't let anxiety get the best of you there. So once I did that, then I actually went in and I grouped it. So this is sort of like my instrument group here, and on that group is where I started to put effects. There's nothing on this one. Oh, actually there is. Okay, that came later. Anyway, yeah. I try to leave as much off of my tracks as possible for CPU purposes. Putting them on groups and sends even. I don't think I have any sends on this track. But putting them on groups and sends can really help CPU. Yeah, I think it looks like I deleted both the sends. Return tracks. So, instrument, sample, track, group right here. And on that group is very simple. I just put a utility with a bass mono that helps for imaging. I put a steep cut at 22.5 hertz, again, just to prevent low end issues. And then a steep cut at, that can actually probably go higher. Let's bring that up to 18.5 or 20 hertz, or 20 kilohertz. That's just about, I believe, at the edge of most speaker capabilities. I don't think the human ear goes much higher. Human hearing goes much higher anyway. So, yeah, steep cut right at the top, steep cut at the bottom on the group. And then just the limiter. And it's set at 10. That should be good. You could probably bring it to -12, depending on how much you want to do for gain staging in the mix and master. That -10 seemed to work for me on this limiter here. It didn't affect it much. And I have a pretty quick release there. Again, try not to affect the sound too much because these are already mastered tracks. And then my mixing chain, I went over this in the previous set of videos. I did add a few new things here. and one is this OTT Multiband Compressor from Ableton. It's the Ableton stock multiband compressor with the OTT setting, and that actually kind of helped me learn a little bit more about multiband. So you got these things down here, and that's time, below, and above. And the way I've been kind of looking at it is that because this gives you the ability to set compression settings for the bands below and above the compressor where it's engaging. So there's actually multiple different compression points there. Um, I like to think about it as like you've got these pillars of sound, and that's what a sound, you know, the experience of hearing and recording. It becomes like you're just capturing all of the available sound in that range. So multiband compression is like dialing in just a slice at the top, and you get to slice out that rim. Because when you hear well recorded music, well mastered music like Motown, soul, the low end frequencies aren't overwhelming. But if you're in the studio with them, there's so much more than appearing on the final product. Um, there's a lot of information down there. So what this multiband compressor does and helps you do is um, allow that to fall away, allow the stuff up top to be either compressed down into this sort of wedge of material, and these bands of material, and then you can even further refine each band within that. So it's almost like creating. You could use the rock formations here in where I'm at with these sandstone where it all gets compressed down, and then you get these bands of different colors, and then I think that's kind of a good visualization of what the multiband compressor is doing here. It's giving you the ability to just slice off the top of that, so it becomes easier to listen to. It's a little bit more enjoyable. There's not all this like low end heft. So the way you do that is you can go into below, and anything below that gets compressed this much. That's the ratio here in blue. That's the threshold here in yellow, and you can do that for the above. And so I have these ones pretty wide open because this is, that's the mix, that's the master. You can see it. I also have one on the master. Yeah, that one's a little bit finer. I have the below 10 decibels higher. So I kind of do a bit of a staging on each level of the mix. And yeah, I'm just still kind of exploring that. It's very fun to work with. It's very useful. It's not always the most musical. You can definitely dial in really bad settings and make it sound terrible. Like the standard aught setting was really not musical for me. But once I dialed it in and really was able to hear what it was doing, it's very useful. And then you also have the time here. So there's sort of the method would be that the high end would be the fastest attack and release, and then you open it up as it goes down, because the lower end you want to give it some time, just based on the way frequencies work. A lower end frequency is longer and wider, so it's going to need more time. So yeah, just give it a little bit more space there to work, and should be good. So that is the multiband compressor in more detail. I know I kind of glanced over it in the past few episodes, but I think that should give you some capability to work with it more. There's also this time function I found a little useful. So sometimes I've really liked the settings I had dialed in, but it was just sounded like it was still smearing over itself. So I could reduce the time to about 65, and that really had a nice effect where it brought the almost the decay or the sustain of the effect just into a shorter time frame, and allowed the transient hits, particularly the snares, to sound more crisp and less muddy and filtered out. And then I also, let's see, one of the other things I could add, and I did add recently, since I went over the Pultec EQP1A, there's also from Universal Audio, the Pultec MEQ, and that one's super useful as well for EQing. So I'm just going to throw that out in my mix. We'll see how that sounds. And the reason I like that because it has this dip here. So sometimes in the mid-range, things can get a little muddy. And you've also got peaks here. So I'm just going to set slight peaks at 200 and 2 kilohertz, and then a little bit more of a dip, but still slight dip at 500 hertz, just for the sake of cleaning up the mix a bit. Yeah, the rest of this I went over in the last project. And then, yeah, same here. Everything is the same, though I did modify the multiband compression so that it's more similar to that aught setting, though it's still way more relaxed than the actual aught setting. But it takes more advantage of the below and the above compression settings. Yeah, and so let's see what I'm going to play for you here, so you guys can listen to, is the outro mix, this transition, and kind of just show you how I did that in Ableton real quick, and then we'll call it a day. Okay, cool. So you guys get the idea there. There is a little bit of a transition between the two tracks, and it was a very simple transition. I used the EQ3 here from Ableton to just throw a high cut on there right when the other track comes in. And the other track, I just turn down the volume, so mixer track volume, very easy. This is the automation tool. You can turn that on by pressing A on your keyboard. And then I also had the low cut on the EQ3. I'm actually going to bring that. Yeah, you know what? see what that sounds like. That might. One thing I was noticing was the low frequencies on this were a little bit unruly for me. I didn't know if the bass was slightly out of tune. So I think that's one of the things that can happen when you cut out some of those lower frequencies. You lose like the root of that note. So that's something to keep in mind. I almost also wonder if throwing the EQ3 in the beginning might also make a difference. Let's just give a quick listen to that one more time. So I almost feel like something's slightly out of time there in the beginning. I'm just going to go in there and tighten up that. Alright, let's see. One thing I did have to go and do was try to change the tuning a bit. It's still slightly off, so I'll probably mess with this on my own. The nice thing about DJing is that using filters and high cuts, sometimes atonality still works. Okay, I think that's done. So yeah, that's basically it. Kind of wanted to show you today the multiband compressor, also just how I use the warping tool. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Hope you guys enjoy it, and if you know, you know. Maybe I'll see you this Friday. Yeah, sound it. You can see here I did the same beat warp, deleted what was in there and just went through the track. This one was actually super quick. It's not. Ashford and Simpson apparently must have played to a click because they were on the whole time. Yeah. Enjoy. Have a good day, guys. Thank you.